Magnitude 6.4 earthquake strike rattles Mexico-Guatemala border. Cold lava from volcano hits western Indonesian. Plane lands without landing gear at Australian airport. Western Canada blazes cause evacuation orders. Long-haul carrier Emirates sees $4.7 billion profit in 2023. The lights are going out for Hong Kong's iconic neon signs.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Tuesday, May 14th, and here are your top stories. A strong earthquake shook the border of Mexico and Guatemala early Sunday, driving frightened residents into the streets. The tremblers struck just before 6 a.m. near the Mexico border town of Suchiate, where a river by the same name divides the two countries. The epicenter was just off the Pacific coast, 16 kilometers west-southwest of Brisa Espada de Suchiate, where the river empties into the sea. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the earthquake had a preliminary magnitude of 6.4 and a depth of 47 miles.
In Mexico, there were no immediate reports of damage, but more mountainous, remote parts of the border are prone to landslides. Across the border, Guatemala's National Disaster Prevention Agency shared photos of small landslides onto highways in the Quetzaltenango region and large cracks in walls in a hospital in San Marcos on its social media accounts, but there were no reports of deaths. In Tapachula, near the border, civil defense brigades were moving through the city looking for signs of damage. Didier Solares, an official with Suchiate's Civil Defense Agency, said so far they had not found damage. The early morning quake still gave people a fright. In the mountainous and picturesque colonial city of San Cristobal, the shaking was strong.
At least 41 people were killed after flash floods and cold lava flowing from a volcano hit the western Indonesian island of Sumatra. Hours of heavy rain on Saturday swept torrents of ash and rocks down Mount Merapi, the most active volcano in Sumatra. The mudslides inundated two districts, swept people to their deaths, and damaged more than 100 homes, mosques, and public facilities. 17 people are still missing. Survivors recounted how they fled as the cold lava, a mixture of volcanic materials and pebbles that flow down a volcano slope in the rain, flowed towards their homes.
The phrase cold lava is a translation of the term lahar in Indonesian and Tagalog. According to several academic reports on the phenomenon, the temperatures range between 0 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius based on how they are formed, but are typically below 50 degrees Celsius. The U.S. Geological Survey said a moving lahar resembles a roiling slurry of wet concrete that can grow in volume as it incorporates other debris in its path. According to the National Search and Rescue Agency, rescuers had found 19 bodies in the worst-hit village of Kanduong in the Agam district and recovered 9 other bodies in the neighboring district of Tanah Datar by Sunday afternoon. The area around Mount Merapi has seen several similar disasters in the past 6 months.
A light plane with 3 people aboard landed safely without landing gear Monday after circling an Australian airport for almost 3 hours to burn off fuel. Officials said the twin turboprop Beechcraft Super King Air had just taken off from Newcastle Airport north of Sydney for a 112-mile flight north to Port Macquarie when the pilot raised the alarm. The video showed that the plane landed on the tarmac around 3 hours later at 12:20 p.m., apparently without incident. Fire engines and ambulance were among the emergency service standing at the ready.
A police statement said the plane had mechanical issues, while Australian Broadcasting Corp. cited an unnamed police officer saying the landing gear had failed. The plane is owned by Port Macquarie-based Eastern Air Services, which did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Aviation safety expert Ron Barch said the pilot would have decided to return to Newcastle because the airport had better emergency response resources than was available at Port Macquarie. Barch said, "The pilot has done quite a copybook landing and got everybody on the ground safely, and that's the most important outcome. The situation could have been a lot worse." The Australian Transport Safety Bureau would investigate what happened.
The season's first major wildfire has spread to roughly 19,000 acres across western Canada on Sunday as authorities issued an evacuation order for a community in British Columbia and warned of poor air quality across provinces. In British Columbia, thousands of residents in North Rockies Regional Municipality and Fort Nelson First Nations were evacuated as the nearby blaze spread. Northern Rockies Regional Municipality Mayor Rob Fraser said in a TV interview that most of the 3,500 residents in and around Fort Nelson had been evacuated.
On Sunday, authorities said the fire had subdued but was expected to increase as the temperatures soar. Winds from the southeast are expected to push the wildfire away from a major highway and toward the Athabasca River. Although there is no immediate risk to these communities, the alert ensures residents are prepared to evacuate if conditions change. The federal government has warned Canada faces another catastrophic wildfire season as it forecast higher than normal spring and summer temperatures across much of the country, boosted by El Niño weather conditions. Canada experienced one of its warmest winters with low to non-existent snow in many areas, raising fears ahead of a hot summer triggering blazes in forests and wildlands amid an ongoing drought.
The long-haul carrier Emirates announced Monday it saw record profits of $4.7 billion in 2023 as the airline fully took flight after the turbulent years of the coronavirus pandemic disrupted its operations. Emirates, owned by Dubai's government, announced revenues of $33 billion, compared to $29.3 billion the year before. Profit the year prior had been $2.9 billion. The airline carries 51.9 million passengers in its 2023 financial year as compared to 43.6 million the year prior. The overall Emirates Group, which includes travel company Detained, as well as food, beverages, and leisure holdings, reported profits of $5.1 billion off revenues of $37.4 billion.
The Emirates results track with those for its base, Dubai International Airport. The world's busiest airport for international travelers had 86.9 million passengers last year, surpassing numbers for 2019 just before the coronavirus pandemic grounded global aviation. The airport had 89.1 million passengers in 2018, its busiest ever year before the pandemic. The city-state, one of 7 hereditarily ruled, autocratic sheikdoms that make up the UAE, provided the Emirates some $4 billion in a bailout at the height of the pandemic. The annual report said that Emirates had repaid $2.6 billion of that loan last financial year. In November, Emirates announced a $52 billion deal to purchase 90 Boeing 777 aircraft, 55 of them 777-9 variants and 35 of them 777-8s. Emirates will also add an additional 5 787 Dreamliners to its previous order of 30 aircraft.
Hong Kong's famous neon signs are becoming harder and harder to find. The once ubiquitous signs advertising bakeries, restaurants, pawn shops, and more became a symbol of Hong Kong as it transformed into an international financial center in the decades after World War II. They provided the backdrops in films such as Blade Runner and local director Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love, and have drawn tourists worldwide. Neon sign artist Jive Lau said, "So many memories and so many stories have happened nearby or underneath neon signs. It is a common memory for a lot of people and lots of Hong Kong citizens."
The disappearance of neon signs in Hong Kong has been underway for decades, spurred by the availability of cheaper LEDs as well as tightening regulations and enhanced government safety inspections. But some residents see it as contributing to an erosion of the once freewheeling Chinese territory's unique identity as it grapples with a crackdown on dissent after months of anti-government unrest in 2019. Like mainland China, with which its economy is strongly intertwined, tourism-dependent Hong Kong is struggling to recover and lure back visitors after 3 years of pandemic isolation. Critics said the removal of neon signs only further saps the city's energy. Lau said, "It's like makeup to a city, but now they are ripping it off and cleaning up. It's not that beautiful anymore."
The answer for yesterday is A, deluged. We have been deluged with applications for the job. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of the lights are going out for Hong Kong's iconic neon signs. Number 1, ubiquitous. 似乎无所不在的，十分普遍的。Sugar is ubiquitous in the diet. Number 2, intertwined. 使紧密相连。 Their political careers had become closely intertwined. Number 3, isolation, 隔离状态. He lives in splendid isolation. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's it for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Wei Li, your host. I'll see you next time.